Hi there. This course is called Global Marketing, and today we learn about Chapter 1 Introduction to Global Marketing. Our learning objectives for today is to know about product and market growth metrics and how companies use it in various ways, how companies use it in various ways to expand globally. We also learn about how industry pursue competitive advantage, and we would try to compare and contrast a single country marketing strategy with a global marketing strategy, which is GMS. We try and look at companies at the top of the global 500 rankings and also explain the stages a company goes through as its management orientation evolves from domestic and ethnocentric to global and geocentric. And we'll end the class today by discussing the driving and restraining forces affecting global integration today. So first of all, let's try and look at have an overview about what international trade means and what global marketing means. In the year of 1800 and until 1920s, international trade really flourished, and the Great Britain dominated the economy, and but its domination ended with World War One, and this and after that era there was Great Depression and the Bolshevik Revolution. Then from World War Two, after World War Two, that was what brought about the unparalleled expansion by companies going outside their home countries. This was the post-World War Two era, and when companies went outside their home countries, they did it in different ways and method which was suitable to them. There was no standardization to global marketing. It means that you could just do what suits you as a company. There was no standardization, and you could just penetrate the global marketing without proper regulation and ethics to it, or standardization. But today, even though companies did go into global marketing, uh, they have they have ways and rules and regulation to this, and companies over time they've survived. They've been able to sustain themselves and grow because of global marketing. And when they adopted this global marketing, they be able to do this with lower cost, more experience, better and more experience, and also better products. Now, first of all, let's try and look what marketing and global marketing is all about. When we say marketing, it's actually set of activities, set of institutions, processes, communication, delivery and exchange offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. However, we cannot achieve marketing without the marketing mix. And the marketing mix consists of the four P's. The first P is the product, the second P is the price, the third P is the place, and the fourth P is promotion. These four P's actually exist has to exist before we can say marketing. The very first one is the product. There has to be a product, whether a service product or a tangible product. I mean, a product that is actually, you can actually see, touch, okay. And when there is a product, there has to be a price, and there also has to be a place. When I mean place, it means that it could be, if it's within a country, there has to be a place where this product is being manufactured, be it service or a tangible product. And if it's an international product, it should be coming from, it's usually, and it should have its own country where it originated from, and where it was first produced, and where the idea was invented or innovated, okay. So with all these piece put in place, then we have promotion. Promotion has to be creating awareness for this product, making people know about this product, making people know about the price of this product, making people know that there's a place where you can get this product. It could be through online or through physical office. Now, talking about global marketing is different from international trade. Like before we say global marketing, international trade existed before. International trade is just basic of buying, just the basic activity of just buying and selling, offer and acceptance. Buy, and the consumer or the customer sees value in what you are offering, and they make payment for it. But this is totally different from global marketing. Global marketing entails a lot of activity more than just buying and selling, which is international trade. Global marketing has to do with trying to create awareness about a product in another country, trying to go with the ethics of a particular brand, of a particular brand or a particular product in that country. If it's acceptable, it's not acceptable, then you try to franchise with me, also operating franchise, also creating accepting the people's culture and trying to incorporate it into the brand. All of these activities is entailed in global marketing. So you cannot just say global marketing is just buying and selling. No, it's creating awareness and trying to be well accepted, okay, blending into the system, okay, and making people know and accept the product, okay, the scope of activity outside the own market, okay. So this is all about global marketing. As the class as the lecture goes on, you get to know more of the activities that is involved in global marketing. Now we try to look at product and market growth matrix. In this, we have the market orientation, we have the existing market, we have market penetration strategy, we have product development strategy, and all of these are different from one another. First of all, we would say that we have to know what we mean by the matrix. The matrix shows that market penetration is defined as getting the existing customers to buy more of existing products. A good example is a Starbucks, which builds its brand on its loyalty. That is, they try as much as possible to issue loyalty cards and reward program to their customers. I don't know if this is happening in other parts of the world, but this is what they do in the United States. And they do this to retain their customers and also get new customers. when people know that there is reward for being loyal to a particular brand, they try to put effort and try to remain with that brand. And sometimes they do this with using apps. You know, these days a lot of brands, products, or companies, they have apps which you can download and probably register, and it records points from you, or you get bonusas, bonus gift items from this. This they do to retain their customers and also get new customers. Then let's look at market. Market development. Okay, market development is different from product development. Market development is defined as taking existing products into new markets. Okay. You know, when a product has been introduced into the market, it has its developmental stages. Okay, now in this regard, I'm still going to use Starbucks as an example. Starbucks expansion over time has expanded to different markets, which we can say global market, has really adopted the global marketing side, and they've been able to open offices in different parts of the world, from USA to Italy, Spain, Malaysia, Canada, and the rest of the world. And in their expansion in 2018, they were able to in Italy, they were able to partner up. Sometimes these companies, they partner, or they collaborate with other brands to be able to penetrate the market. Like in the case of Starbucks, they actually partnered with another company that were into pastries, and they were able to a local bakery, they were able to supply pastry, snacks, okay, pastries to their customers that came to take their Starbucks coffee and all of their products that patronize their brand. So when you get into Starbucks, Italy for example, they did this in Italy, and they've also done this in other parts of the world. But going by my example today, I'm using Italy. So when you go into Italy, in Milan, you'll be offered a pastry from a local industry, and aperitivo, okay, beverage in the Starbucks, uh, in Italy. So they give you a local pastry and their brand, a special beverage which they also issued, which they were also selling. So not only Starbucks, a lot of companies, they do this. Another good example is McDonald's. When you go to McDonald's and you buy, McDonald's are known for 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 fries, chicken, and burgers, right? When you go to McDonald's and you get any of their snacks and you want a drink, most times you get Coca-Cola products. Okay, you see, once you get their food and you want a drink, it's Coca-Cola. It's very uh, it's it's a common thing in most of their branches all over the world. I don't think you probably get any other drink that is not a Coca-Cola brand then when you go to McDonald's or KFC. They issue you Coke, probably Fanta, Sprite, Pepsi, all of these Coca-Cola brands, and that is the drinks you will be offered to with the McDonald's products. There are many other brands like that, apart from Starbucks, apart from McDonald's, but these are just a market development strategy to penetrate the market, adopted for global marketing. So most times these companies, they usually use local, they try to pair their product up with the local brand, so that you to make you feel more comfortable and want to patronize them, right? Like for example now, give you another example, like if you want a Coca-Cola drink, you rather just go to McDonald's, right? Because you know when you buy any of the McDonald's snacks, fries or chicken or whatever thing you buy in there, you're going to get a big cup of Coca-Cola with it. So you rather go for that than just buying just Coca-Cola. And so we talked about market development, and now we're going to look at product development. Like I mentioned, market development and product development are different. Product development is developing new products and placing them in existing market. Okay. And I'm still going to use Starbucks, and example, Starbucks created a brand of instant coffee, okay, to enable its this was to enable its customers to enjoy coffee at the office and other locations where brewed coffees is not available. And this, because Starbucks originated from US, its home country from the brand is US. Most of all of this strategy they adopted in regards product market development, product development. They started it from the US, okay, and most times they started from US, and then they try to they extend their methods to other parts of the world. Now we've looked at product development and we've looked at market development. So let's look at is there any other new word? Okay, let's look at diversification strategy. Okay, looking at diversification strategy, you know, for diversification strategy, you can see it in products. This is another strategy that can be used for new products. Okay, for product orientation is for existing products, you could either use market penetration strategy or you use market development strategy. But for products that are new, not existing, they've not been existing, they are new in the market, you could use product development strategy and diversification strategy. So we're going to look at the diversification strategy. We're going to look at the diversification strategy. Diversification strategy is developing new product for new market. So new product, new market. This is a new market. It's a niche area. So you have to design a product that will be suitable and acceptable. And I'm still going to use Starbucks, okay? So Starbucks, for example, dropped the word coffee from its logo, you know, because they wanted to come up with a diversification strategy, and they were penetrating new markets, and they were coming up with new products. And why did they drop this coffee from their logo? Because it's recently acquired a juice maker, a juice maker, okay. Evolution Fresh means they make juice. Not everyone wants coffee, okay, because it has caffeine. A lot of people, when they some people, let me put it that way, some people, when they take coffee, it affects them, so they rather go for other beverages or juices than taking coffee. So Starbucks saw this as a niche area, and they wanted to incorporate this into their existing business, which was focused on coffee making. And what did they do? They dropped the word coffee from their logo, and they started making fresh juices, okay. And they also an example how they started making the Bay Bread Bakery, okay. They also did this with tea, when they introduced tea, not just coffee. And And when they did all of this, they tried to revamp all their shops, all their stores, to suit their new the new product they were incorporating into the existing one. So moving to the next slides, we're going to look at challenges for market. Challenges for market. Uh, so challenges for markets, we say that marketers encounter unique or familiar features in countries or regions. It's not easy for you to just enter a new market and think everything is going to be rosy. True, there are a lot of challenges. One of such is counterfeiting and piracy. China, for example, is a common thing because a lot of companies in the world, they've actually opened their factories in China because of cheap labor. Now, cheap labor in human resources. I mean, when they need workers, they can actually get a lot of workers from China that are ready to work in their factories. But then, what are the challenges they face when they move their companies to China? A lot of counterfeit. You see products that are not original, that are not their brand, were also introduced into the market alongside the original product. And these are usually difficult for people to differentiate. And when they do this, when these counterfeits are also introduced into the market, it reduces the number of people that will actually patronize the original product. So this is one of the challenges of entering new countries and regions. Then also bribery and corruption. Sometimes some countries, the government officials that regulate all of these brands, that regulate companies, company registration, operations, acquiring of the documentations and place or sites which you're going to situate your factory. They are corrupt. They need to be bribed. Okay, and sometimes these are not they are against the company's policy. Okay, methods of operation that they have to bribe government officials before they can actually carry out their activities. So all of these are because bribery and corruption, bribery is illegal, right? So sometimes these companies are not even sure if they should do or not do. And most times, sometimes when they don't do this illegally, they are legally denied. Because you understand the problem, the situation. So these are one of it. Then another point to also look at in challenges of the market is managers at global companies understand the importance of local excellence. This is one of the challenges. Sometimes these managers, they do not really have this global experience because when you enter a new country or region, there's very most times even a requirement for you to recruit managers within the country or region. And sometimes these managers may not really be conversant with the international how international brands should operate. Although sometimes these companies, they send these managers to training abroad and stuff like that, so that they'll know how to carry out their job functions. However, though these challenges are there, these managers are also very useful because they understand the importance of local excellence, what is expected of these companies, these foreign companies or brands in their countries and in the regions which they are operating or intend to operate. We're going to look at customer perceived value. Customer perceived value. So we know we have the value chain. The value chain is composed of marketing, product design, manufacturing, transportation, logistics. Before we can say a product has value, all of these things must be top notch. Okay, these are things people look at. Oh, uh, their marketing, the product design, how is this product designed, then how it's manufactured, the transportation logistics, how these products are easily accessible and gotten. That directly to to the people who sell to the customers directly, or to different parts of the world where they are being patronized. So the essence of marketing is to provide a superior value proposition to surpass the competition. Once you are a brand is not able to do this, to have a good value proposition, it will not be able to compete with other companies or surpass them. So companies that and most companies too, they try to create value for customers by improving the benefit or reducing price. That means they increase the benefit, especially for products that are so costly, expensive, that you have to pay more to to get the amount you are paying for that product. The value getting from it should match with it. The benefit should be good enough for the customers to be able to be willing to pay such for that product. Then sometimes some companies, they just reduce the price. This is another way of creating value for your customers. When the customer know that it's very cheap, it's affordable, it's also a very it's convenient to actually purchase. It's not that expensive. It's also another way of creating value for your customer. So they could either improve the product or find new another way is to improve the product or find new distribution channels so that they can easily access it or have it, create better communication, or cut monetary and non-monetary costs and prices. And talking about value, if to calculate for value, the benefit is usually divided by the price. This is why some companies, they create value by sometimes reducing the price. And if the price is going to be increased or is not intended to be reduced, they try to improve the benefits that will be gotten from it. Okay, the another thing is that company that use price as a competitive weapon may use global sourcing to access cheap raw materials or low wage. Because if you are reducing price as a way of creating value for your customers, you must try to cover cover it up from somewhere. Because companies are not they are not free givers. Like every company, the essence of operation, apart from creating the product, is to make profit. Okay, so whatever costs the money, the price they've reduced, they try to meet up from other aspects of the production process, like sourcing for raw materials, like I had already mentioned, or looking for cheap labor, or they pay low wages for the product. People producing it, their workers, they pay them low wages. There is always a way for them to meet up. They try to meet up in other ways or means. The marketers may be able to reduce non-monetary costs by decreasing the time and effort customer expend to learn about or seek out the product. Now another thing is that another thing is that the market, they really have a big role to play in all of this. So let's look at markets and value proposition. Before we talked about that, we say we have already told you what a market is. A market is defined. No, not market. We talked about. I think we were talking about global market now. Specifically, a market is defined as people and organizations that are both able and willing to buy. So, a successful product or brand must be of acceptable quality and consistent with buyers' behavior, expectations, and preferences. So, in the market, if a company is able to offer a combination of superior products and distribution or promotion, which is the four P's, and like I mentioned before, that without the four P's, we cannot have marketing, we cannot have global marketing. So a superior product must have all of the four P's in place, okay, and also the benefits, and there should be lower price than competitors, because people most times they use the price, okay, they use the price to actually analyze the benefit. Most times they use the price to analyze the benefit, because when it's so expensive, majority of the people are not wealthy, okay, only the wealthy ones patronize very expensive or luxury products. So when the price is not, and lower prices, when the price is not low then than competitors, it should enjoy a competitive advantage. Now a good example is the Japanese automakers, okay, how they gained the US market. Before now, the US was the country that was US and the European countries. They were the countries that were mostly known for automobile manufacturing, but after some time, Japanese came out. I mean, like in the 1980s, they tried to create a superior value. Okay. Now, what did they do? They tried to produce car with higher quality, better mileage, that were fuel efficient, means that were using less fuel or gas. So, and the Toyota brand is known for this, right? When when you use the Toyota cars, you use less gas or fuel. So their value proposition was perceived value to the was perceived. It was a perceived value to the customers, and and this was a very big thing to the customers. And today's new value proposition, see, today people still patronize this Japanese car. Sure, a lot of people will tell you they prefer that car to other brands, okay, the cars manufactured there to other brands. They have higher quality vehicle for less than, they also use the pricing as to an advantage. They produce high quality vehicles for less than uh, the amount sold in other places, and they try to focus on the India and Africa market. So we're going to look at competitive advantage. Competitive advantage. When a company succeeds in creating more value for its customers than its competitor, what is the company doing? The company is creating an advantage. It's creating a competitive advantage. That means for that advantage is reasons why the customers will patronize them more, and it will also capture other new customers to patronize them. So we can say competitive advantage is measured, I mean, is a measure relative to rivals in a specific industry sector. For example, like like a local company in a local industry competing with a uh, competing competing with an what do you call it, uh, okay, a local, we can say a local industry, and its competitors are in the local area, and they try as much as possible to create a value. I mean, a complete value. Most times these local companies, they try to focus on selling cheaper goods, because in most cases they use local materials, they use local human resources, and they also try to they not sometimes they are not taxed compared to foreign companies operating in the same local vicinity. So this is a competitive advantage to those companies. So we when a firm tries to create value for its product, increase the benefit which its customer gets from patronizing product, they are as well creating a competitive advantage. uh, so this is why, like the example I gave, this is why a national industry is different from a global industry. Okay, a national this is why a national industry has can actually compete with a global industry. Like, they will tell you that uh, the countries that are well known in the world, that are doing better internationally, are also the ones that are doing better locally. So let's look at globalization. Okay, now globalization, it's uh, constitutes integration of national economies into the international economy through trade, direct foreign investment, short-term capital flows, international flows of workers and humanity generally, and flow of technology. Okay, before now we wouldn't even say a flow of technology, but now in the world we are today, the flow of technology is one of the big aspects of globalization. From a marketing point of view, you can say globalization presents companies with tantalizing opportunities and also some challenges. As executive as executive as executive decides whether to as executive decide offer whether to offer their products and services everywhere. At the same time, globalization presents companies with unprecedented opportunities to kind of refigure themselves. Global industries, an industry is global to the extent that a company industry position in one country is interdependent with its industry position in another country. These days, globalization is no longer very dependent. Mean, for example, if company A is in in the is in Africa, and same company A is in Asia, same company B A is in Europe, they operate interindependently. You remember at the beginning of the class I mentioned about the parallel way these companies, they now kind of operate, right? They operate differently. They are not dependent on on each other in their in the industry position in another country. Now let's look at indicators of globalization. First one is ratio of cross-border investment to total capital investment. Second one is proportion of industry revenue generated by all companies that compete in key world regions, and ratio of cross-border trade to worldwide uh, uh, worldwide production. So these are indicators of globalization, and it varies with companies and how the style and method which they are adopted.
Mommy, mom.
So this is an example of globalization of pro sports. You know, even sports these days, not only do different brands from healthcare to sports to education, everything is now global. Okay, so looking at this is an example of how a major league sports like the NBA, NFL, and MSI are finding their new fans abroad. The though they all of these sports are in the leagues are in the US, but then they have fans all over the world that are not from where they operate from. Like we would say that soccer is a global sport, even those in the Europe, uh, uh, even those in the Europe too, like they have fans from different parts of the world, from Asia, from Africa, and other parts of the world. The National Football League is focusing on Canada, China, Germany, Japan, Mexico, and the UK. Now let's talk about focus. When we talk about you see, focus is also an very is another aspect of globalization and global industries. A lot of companies that have gone global, they over time they focus and they are known for what they do. Okay. Like for example, if you mention about Toyota, we know they produce cars. If you mention about Starbucks, you know they produce beverages and beverages and other drinks. Okay, is it Coca-Cola? You know what they produce, right? Is it IBM computers? We know that all of these they produce computers and software. So a good one is a Nestle, which is focused on food and beverages, and they have bicycle shops in most parts of the world, and there are certain areas which they do not touch, they do not operate on. It's very difficult for you to find healthcare product or a software and they tell you that it's produced by the Nestle. And they do not produce soft drinks. Okay, they do not produce coffee or other beverages like Starbucks, or they do not produce fries, chicken like the McDonald's and KFC. So this is what focus is about. Most companies that have gone globalization and that have been so successful, they are known for a particular product which they produce. Now, value, competitive advantage, and focus. This is one aspect of those brands too. Value is that they give value, they focus on improving on their competitive advantage, and focus are on universal in their relevance and guide marketing in any part of the world. And these companies, they understand this and they operate this way. Companies that understand and engage in global marketing can offer more value to customers than those who do not. So we can say globalization is no longer an abstraction but a stark reality. Now we're going to look at more companies and how they've used this strategy of focusing on a particular thing to do to actually excel. One is the General Electric. This is United States own country, and they know them for appliances, right? We have the Vivendi from France. What do? They do video games. Then we have the Unilever. This is a very popular brand. Most of the roses like pasta, okay, cosmetics, home cosmetics, from bathing soap to powder, all of this, they do all of this, okay. And this, their home country is United Kingdom and Netherlands. We can just say Europe. Then we have the IBM computers from United States. So now let's look at the pros and cons of globalization. Now before I move to the next slide, you know these companies, they are among the most successful companies in the world. In short, they are one of the biggest. But you can see how they've used their focus strategy to penetrate the global market, and they were able to make it has actually made them very successful, and also made them well known. Okay, so moving on to the next slide, we're going to look at the pros and cons of globalization. Globalization, though it has very big benefits, like I mentioned some of the challenges, it has its own setbacks too. Okay, some hundreds of millions of people have been lifted from poverty. Those are one of the advantages, and it can create job opportunities. It has creates financial empowerment, because people are able to apart from working, apart from getting the job, you are able to earn a living, and you earn money to sustain yourself and your family or whatever you do. Yeah, these companies, they'll be able to not only they'll also be able to finance researches in research centers, universities in regions and countries where they operate. Okay, yeah, they also have wages, I mean the living standard. They've also improved the living standard of those people. Okay, however, not all gains from globalization have been evenly distributed. A lot of people profit more than others in this globalization. Yeah, because most times the countries and regions when all these big companies they operate, like the oil companies for example, they deteriorate the environment. They cause a lot of pollution, and these environments and areas where they operate deteriorate very fast. And at the end of the day, the benefits, the products are not only consumed by these people, are consumed by everyone, and the profits, the company, first of all, we have to satisfy their shareholders first before they consider those people uh, the people at those areas that are getting the I'm not saying these companies don't compensate these people, but then they are not their priority. Their priority are their shareholders that have invested in these companies. They have to meet with their agreement first, and pay them their dividends and all before they consider this. And most times, at the end of the day, not all gains from colonization have been is evenly distributed. Okay, now US president, for example, American first administration, is one example of nation retreating into protectionism. This has led to this not all countries benefiting, or not all this this is the reason why there have to be protectionism and isolation was brought into it. And the US President Trump America First agenda has made this an America First agenda, that the people has to be protected, because though many companies are going global, the profits is not evenly distributed. Sometimes those infected the most are not the one profiting the most from it. Then, and this brought about standardization. Okay, now when we talk about globalization, we cannot do without standardization. Standardization is trying to develop standard products that can be marketed worldwide. First of all, before you can even go global, your products must be standardized. This is different from how it used to be before, when people were just doing international trade, just buy and sell. Okay, but today the standardization has to put in place the marketing mix, which I already mentioned, the 4 P's. Okay, the product must be standard, the price must be acceptable, and the buyers must be willing to pay for that. Okay, product must give value that will make the consumers, the customers, the buyers be willing to pay for that particular product. Then there's also excess of mass marketing. Okay, because these products are like most of these big companies, they mass produce sometimes for lower costs because they enjoy economies of scale, and they must be enough for them to satisfy to meet up with the demand of this product in regions and countries where they operate. All of these are standardization. You can't go global and your products are not available for purchase. Then we have global localization. This is trying to mix standardization and customization. Like like though we are all same, but we are unique in our own ways. We're different and unique in our own ways. Yeah, because um, every region, countries, they have unique uh, unique demand. Okay, unique feature. So this is why that most of these products has to be customized to the region and country which they operate, which their the production activity is being carried out. Then it's like you have to think globally. Yes, you want to go global to be accepted everywhere and to be everywhere, but you must act locally, must produce locally to suit the people and what they represent. Now we're going to look at single country marketing strategy and global marketing strategy. The target market strategy, the marketing means is prioritized. Okay, that means the product, price, promotion, place. Then we have the global marketing participation. The marketing means development, means you have to adapt or standardize. There's also concentration of marketing activities, coordination of marketing activity, the integration of the competitive move. Then we also going to look at the additional dimension, which talks about the concentration of marketing activities, then the coordination of the marketing activities, and integration of competitive moves. Now the concentration of marketing activities is the extent to which activity related to the marketing mix, like the promotional campaigns or price decision, are performed in one or a few country locations. Okay, this is very necessary and important for the product to be well patronized. Then we also have the coordination of the marketing activities, which talks about the extent to which marketing activities related to the marketing mix are planned, how they are planned and executed. And when they are planned as well, they try to not be too dependent. Okay, dependent around the globe. The most times these companies, they operate interdependently, because they also try to um, because while they are though it's a company, but then they try to be interdependent, because like I said, they also try to adopt the local the local strategy of the people. They try to incorporate it into the brands and products they sell at every region and countries. So this is why they are not they are not so dependent on one another, because every every of the branches globally operates in a way that is suitable to the people which they are serving. Then we're going to look at integration of competitive move. This is the extent to which a firm's competitive marketing tactics in different parts of the world are interdependent. Now we're going to look at two groups of countries, the BRICS and the MIP. Okay, these are countries with great potential, market potential. The BRICS consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And the MIP consists of the Mexico, Indonesia, Nigeria, and Turkey. So BRICS are they are recognized and significant for the growth opportunities that are available there. Okay, and they are fast developing countries that sooner or later they will be classified as developed countries. Now the main are new group with great potential. Okay, these countries are also fast approaching to be like to be better than what they are now, and also even do do better than the BRICS country. So a lot of brands see these potentials in this country, and they try to globally use global global market. I mean, they try to penetrate these countries and operate their brands there too. They try to take. They also try to benefit from the potentials in this, the potential available in these countries. Now, an example of this is a case study of punk rock from 1976 to 2016, how they franchised their U2 Rebel. Okay, they they emerged to challenge prevailing music styles set by Genesis, Pink Floyd, the Eagles then. Okay, but at the same time they offered a voice for the franchise used to rebel. This is another group of musicians, and what this shows that this has been happening for a long time. I mean, globalization, and how it has been different ways and methods which people have been adapting to the strategy that has been adopted over time to actually penetrate the market, and how it has been working. There's another one which is about the Bosberry GMS. These ones were they they adopted the marketing means. Okay, means there was products and all the 4 P's. Then their promotion encourage advocacy and sharing via social media, blog, advocacy for emerging musicians. And they operated independent stores in major cities like Hong Kong, Los Angeles, San Francisco. Their shops were not dependent; they were independent. So, and these countries have been operating for some time. Okay, imagine celebrating 160 years, and today they operate in more than 90 countries. So we're going to look at global localization, which is about how you think globally and act locally. Now, maybe a combination of this has to do how you combine the standard products and non-standard approach, which is distribution or packaging. Because when you try to think globally and act locally, the globally means you have to make available the standard product, but then how do you bring the local touch into it? Local touch could be through the distribution or packaging, uh, the, that reflects the people or who they are. So it doesn't mean that you, as a brand has to bring its product to a top standard product in order to think globally and act locally. Most times these brands do not reduce the standard of the product, how they are manufactured, or what they do, okay? They actually try to adopt the local style or methods by through other aspects of the product, okay, like in the aspect of distribution or packaging. So for example, McDonald's in France have muted colors and goldy ashes that are more supple because this is, usually the McDonald's colors are very bright, right? We have bright reds and bright reds. I think now they kind of added more colors to it, like orange or blue. I'm not so sure. But then in different parts of the world, the McDonald brand has tried to also adopt the local uh, way, which is acting locally to suit the people, to represent them. Like for example, where I live, if you go to the McDonald's shop to buy something, you could actually see the local dish of the people. The local dish are valuable for the people to buy, and and this has actually made the people feel that they are represented. So this is about thinking globally and acting locally, and this has made many companies operate independently. Like for example, you wouldn't go to another part of the world. Let me say for example, you go to France, for example, you meet the local dish here there, because the people do not eat, or they do not eat such local dish. So making it available there, it's not representing the people over there, the French people. So by so doing, what did they do there to act locally in France compared to where I am now? In France, they try to use the color. They use the color to incorporate acting locally, to represent the people. But in in this place, they use their local dish, and whatever the case are, this did not change the brand McDonald and what they represent. They still have same colors, they still sell their fries, they still sell their burgers, they still sell their chickens. All of this is the standard which they have to still uphold, which they have to focus on, and that is how they've been able to remain globally, okay? Which representing globally, and also at the same time they are acting locally. Then we have examples of effective global marketing which the McDonald has adopted. First is the marketing mix elements they did. All the four P's are present. They have the product, the promotion, the place, and the price. But the standard, what are the standard? The standard they have same price, they still sell, so these have measured, they still sell the same things, their colors is the same, their slogan, I'm loving it. At least when the slogan are always the same all over the world. If you hear I'm loving it wherever part of the world you go to, you know it's the McDonald's slogan. Then this is what makes them this is the focus we're talking about. Globally they are focused, they are known for what they represent, but locally this is where they are not dependent on one another, they operate differently. And this for every country it reflects the people, it shows what the people represent, how the people are how the people are are being are being make the way they make the people feel. They make the people feel that they are part of, they are recognized, they are known, and they are part of what they do. So this is their standardized ways, and this is their localized ways. Now we're going to look at the importance of global marketing. Global marketing over time has been able to survive and sustain companies. Okay, most companies in the world, they actually make more of their profit from their branches outside their home country. A good example is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola earns 75% of operating income and two-thirds of profit outside of North America. So also for many other brands in the world. Then we're going to look at the difference between ethnocentric orientation, polycentric orientation, and regiocentric orientation, geocentric. All these they are different. When we talk about ethnocentric orientation, it has to do with home country is superior to others orientation. These are orientation which these brands must the management must be well aware of. They have to know that home country is superior to others. They should see only similarities in other countries, assume products and practices that succeed at home will be successful everywhere. Okay, a product that has succeed at home will succeed everywhere. If people in France are not satisfied with McDonald's, it means that people in there's a very high tendency that people in South Africa are also not satisfied with McDonald's. It means probably their standard has been compromised. Okay, so when you know that assume products and practices that succeed at home will be successful everywhere, when people see your standard that it's successful, it will be accepted everywhere. Also, it leads to ethnocentric also leads to a standardized or extension approach. Yeah, like I already mentioned, means that it helps keeps the standards same. It's not compromised, even though this company try to incorporate local ideas into what they do at different parts of the world. Then we have polycentric orientation. This has to do, these are orientations, management orientation that has to do, each country is unique. They must bear in mind that each country is unique in its own ways, and every country's uniqueness, it's important to them. Each subsidiary develop its own unique business and marketing strategy, okay, as it's suitable in where they operate. It also has to do with often referred to as multinationals. You are multinationals, you should be operate as one, okay, and operate and adopt practices as one. Leads to a localized or adaptation approach that assume product must be adapted to local market conditions, and this polycentric makes it's an orientation that has to pave way for these products must be adapted, must create ways in which the products must be adapted to local market condition. Then we have regiocentric orientation. A region-centric orientation has to do with the region, what is their rules and regulation. Like for example, the NAFTA or European Union market, ECOWAS, okay, economic community of West Africa countries, okay. uh, then we also have all of these regions, they play big roles that in the global market. Sometimes they bring out rules, regulations, they regulate a lot of things, okay. So This orientation must also be well known that all of these geographic geographic units of this geographic units has the regulation has to also be looked into, prioritized, and must be adhered to. Then some companies serve markets throughout the world but on a regional basis. Like for example, General Motors had four regions for decades. They just operate on region based. They are not country based. Probably they go to Africa, they stay in one of they just have regional office, regional factory, not based in any specific countries to operate. So the GM Motors is one of them. They are region based. Probably they stay in any country in that region. They just pick a country where they can operate, and that office represents their brand in that whole of region. Like for example, McDonald is like in every country, in each country. If you go to Kenya, you come to Philippines, you come to Bangladesh, Malaysia, you go to Canada. See, uh, it operates in every country. It has branches there, okay. But the GM, it's regional based. It doesn't. It will have a factory or probably an office, but that office covers it's represents all of the region. It's regional based. So such companies, they operate with the geographic units like the European Union, like the ECOWAS I've already mentioned, or the NAFTA. Then going on, we're going to look at a geocentric orientation. This entails that entire world is a potential market, okay, and strive for integrated global strategy, also known as a global or transnational company, retains an association with the headquarters country, pursues serving world markets from a single country or sources globally to focus on selected country markets, leads to a combination of extension and adaptation in management. These are management orientation that has to also be uh, that is also relevant in operating in a global market. The forces affecting global integration and global marketing. First is the multilateral trade agreement. Second is converging market needs and wants and information revolution, transportation and communication improvement, product development cost and quality. There has to be a trade agreement between countries, okay, and this can be quite challenging because country has to come to terms and agreement again. Then there have to be converging market needs and wants and the information revolution. Okay, this they have to add to share information too among themselves. Okay, um, because sometimes these brands, in a particular region or country, we have more than 100, a lot of brands operating simultaneously same time. Some they says they are focused on same thing, products or service, and sometimes it's quite so competitive. There are times where you have to represent the interests of the people, not the individual company's interest. So these are forces that affect the global integration and global marketing. Then transportation and communication improvement. There are times they have to really work on the transportation and communication improvement. Then they also face the product development costs and the standardization of these of products. Okay. Then we have driving forces affecting global integration and global marketing. We have world economic trends and we have leverage. Now, uh, like economic growth is a key develop is a key. It's very important in developing countries, uh, uh, because it's provided incentive for investment, countries like India, China, okay, let's say the BRICS country. Then we have economic growth led policymaker to favor outsiders. These are another force that affects the global market. Like for example, China foreign firms will not treat domestic firms, okay, because these are laws that has to be put in place to protect they have to put laws in place and rules in place to protect the local firms, okay. Then we also have these are things that are being done in the various countries to protect these local firms and local products, okay. Then the world market movement towards free market. There are other things they are trying to propose: free markets, deregulation, and privatization. But this has not been globally accepted, but regions have already started operating on this world economic trend, like the NAFTA, like NAFTA or the European Union market, ECOWAS. They've tried to also, they've already started adapting these ways for ease of global integration and global marketing among the regions, among countries of such region. Also Asia too, they have all of these too. They've also set these rules to protect themselves and to represent the region interests. So these are the trends today, and let's look at the leverage. There's experience transfer, the leverage on experience transfer, scale of economies, and resource utilization, and global strategy. This is what they all leverage on. So all of uh, these are all prior to the global economic crisis in 2008, uh, and in order to in order to excel, okay, in order to sustain the world economy, all of these were being put in place, and today is what is still is the economic trends, and it's still what is being operated on. Now we're going to look at management myopia, organizational culture, national controls, then and also opposition to globalization. All these are also restraining forces affecting global integration and global marketing. So for management myopia, we for management myopia, it's about how management they kind of they focus they focus on they focus on a certain aspect, okay, is a certain aspect of their production process, and thereby ignoring other aspects that are also very relevant to the success of their globalization or operations in regions and areas where the countries where they operate. Then at the same time, we have organizational cultures which many organizations do not want to compromise, okay, and they they want to keep their organizational culture, at the same time keep the organizational culture intact, and at the same time try to please the people where they operate, the regions and the countries where they operate, the people they serve. Then national controls is also a challenge, because wherever they operate, they have to adhere to the laws of that place, okay. and sometimes these laws might not be so favorable. Laws that, like example, that has to do with protecting the environment, using products that are not harmful, healthy, or how to dispose their waste. All of this can be quite challenging to some, and sometimes or trying to compensate the people, okay, the people that are really affected by their operational activities. Then they have opposition to globalization. I mean, we've been saying globalization, not everyone, not every part of the world really embraces globalization. Globalization is really regulated. This is why when some countries want to operate in certain areas, there are strict rules, laws they must meet up, they must adhere to, or they must requirements they must meet up to before they are allowed in to operate. So these are forces that actually affects integration and the global market at large. That is all for today's class. Thank you.